people. I'm talking about liquid. Rich enough to have your own jet. Rich enough not to waste time. Well, in my book, you either do it right or you get eliminated.
They're analysts. They don't know preferred stock from livestock, all right? The new law of evolution in corporate America seems to be survival of the unfittest.
Good evening, stock traders, and welcome to Stock Traders Talk Radio, here on a beautiful Sunday night, March 18th, 2012. I am your host, STT. Joining me on tonight's program, I have QT Cal.
Hello, STT. How are you this evening?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing great. Catching a little bit of the March Madness and enjoying the heck out of the basketball game so far. A lot of upsets.
Yeah, my Dukies lost already.
I saw that. My condolences.
Very upsetting. Very upsetting. Also joining us on the program tonight is Stock Sumo.
Hey, gang. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Still a little bit under the weather, just fighting this cold, but bear with me.
All righty. Also joining us on the program tonight, I have Sifakia.
Aloha, STT.
How you doing there, brah?
I'm doing good, brah. Ready to rock it.
Did you get down to the beach today as you asked me for?
Yes, sir. Thank you
Everything
for
went well?
For the permission to leave the chair and go to the beach.
I appreciate that. You helped me out a great deal today. Thank you very much.
Mahalo.
All right. Kicking off the week here at Stock Traders Talk Radio, we are excited because we have another CEO interview for you tonight. Doing tonight's CEO interview, as Mr. Kopp is once again out of town, will be QT Cal. QT, take it away.
Thank you so much, STT. All right, we're here with Mr. Roland Day, the CEO and Chairman of Web Safety, Inc. The stock ticker is WBSI. That's W in Walter, B as in boy, S as in Sam, I as in igloo. Mr. Roland Day has over 30 years' experience as a corporate securities attorney representing large multinational and young growth companies and developing successful business strategies. He is also the co-founder of Web Safety, Inc. In this interview tonight, I'd like to cover information and background of the company, its technology and product features, and also Web Safety's current business activities. Welcome to Stock Traders Talk Radio, Roland. We are very happy to have you join us this evening.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on the radio with you.
Great. Well, we're very excited about what your company has to offer, so I'd like to just get right into the background of the company. So can you describe to our audience what your company does?
Be happy to. We have a company that some years ago was able to identify a gigantic need, and this need evolves around the cell phone, and specifically two applications or two services that we offer, which I believe the public will very easily recognize as being gigantic problems. The first is the texting and driving that takes place in moving vehicles, the so-called distracted driving. Our service is able to disable the ability to text, email, and web browse in a moving vehicle. And it works in a very simple, fantastic way using the GPS technology. And by the way, our technology is patent pending. So we filed for our patent a few years ago. It's in the process with the United States Patent Office, but we have pursued that protection. But the service I think is most appealing right now is a service that we have that identifies cyberbullying and sexting on the cell phone. And what we're seeing is kids are getting cell phones at much earlier ages, even down to 6 years of age. And this situation is something that most parents truly don't recognize, the power of today's smartphones. We still believe that many parents think, well, I gave my kid a phone, I've asked him or her to call me when soccer practice is over, and that's all they're using the phone for. But unbeknownst to mom or dad, the child is using that smartphone to surf the web or transmitting or receiving some really vulgar or derogatory language. In some cases, it's, as we call it, cyberbullying, as they identify another child and then through ridicule lower that child's self-esteem to such a point where the suicide rate for teenagers is increasing at an alarming rate. I think every listener on this program can recognize that every community in this country, but not just in this country, all over the world, has been affected by some teenager taking his or her life because of being bullied. This is a tremendous problem. We have put together a word recognition library of over 11,000 words and phrases and acronyms that when our service is put onto a phone, if the child receives or transmits, sends off a derogatory, vulgar word or phrase or an acronym that represents the vulgarity, we send a text alert or an email alert immediately to the parent, and they will see what was sent or received, thereby giving mom or dad the ability to sit down with the child and find out what has taken place. And I've had a number of parents over this past year approach me and show me what they have found out was taking place with their children. And they were alarmed. I mean, really alarmed. This is a situation that plays out every day in the news. Last week, the Rutgers student who was accused of cyberbullying his roommate, the one who committed suicide by jumping off the George Washington Bridge, or we had the high school situation in Ohio, once again because of being bullied. There's a movie coming out, I believe it's next month, called Bully, where once again it targets this practice. These injuries, it used to be if you were a kid, you'd get in a fight, and that would pretty much end it. But you'd come home with a black eye or a bloody nose, and mom or dad could tell something took place. But nowadays, these injuries are being held inside. Highly traumatic, highly emotional, and the kids don't know what to do. And in most cases, kids are afraid to explain to mom or dad that behavior is happening and they're the target of it. I mean, no kid wants to appear to be weak, but this is taking place. So we really believe that the service we have put together, which is fully operational, this isn't being developed, it's developed. We're coming out this week, tomorrow, with our new release 2.0, which will just, we believe, make this information so important, which is so important, but so easy for a mom or dad, and even in the corporate world, because this works in a corporate setting, because in the corporate setting you call it sexual harassment. But this information will be able to flow to the parent or guardian, and they can now know that they have a way of keeping their child safe, being alerted to what can take place so things don't progress to the point where something terrible could eventually happen. So that's the company kind of in a nutshell with the service that we provide.
Very interesting, Roland. Going back to some of the points that you made, the cyberbullying, we're seeing this on such an elevated level these days, and there's been such an awareness around it. It's really interesting to see how your software is compatible with those situations for parents to feel like their child, to help with the child's well-being. Can you also elaborate on, I noticed that you talked about the word recognition library that uses or that helps to identify these types of situations happening. Can you explain a little bit more about that word recognition library?
Be happy to. By the way, let me just add that the system we have works on the Android and the BlackBerry operating systems, and we operate on the AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint wireless carriers, and the 3 major carriers in Canada. But what we have here with this word recognition library is, when the program started, you were talking about March Madness. If kids are talking about why Duke lost, or that was a bad loss, or whatever the case is, Ohio State's this or that, nobody really cares about that because there's nothing derogatory talking about the basketball game. But the minute inappropriate language is used, our library picks up those words or phrases. So the vulgar statement, the 4-letter word, the situation, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to do this or that, or I don't know what's going on with my life, I may take it, or let's go get drunk. Things that I believe any parent would want to know what their child is doing. It's those words that trigger our service, and then it immediately sends out that text and email to mom or dad. So it works very easily, and it works immediately. So you don't get noticed in 24 hours. You get noticed when it takes place. And you'll know who it went to or who it came from. So you have the other party as well.
Very good. Very good for parents, for sure. As far as the texting and driving feature, I know you had talked about the GPS. It's linked into the GPS. So that means that once the teen is in the car, there's something that prompts that particular software into the phone, that it disables that function in the phone. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, thank you for asking that. What takes place is using GPS technology. When the car begins to move and the parent has the ability to set a speed, usually it's about 10 miles an hour the parent will set, that the GPS will recognize that the car is now moving. And what it does is it shuts down the phone's ability to send or receive text messages, emails, or the phone cannot do any web browsing. We do not shut the phone down as a communication tool for audio, so you can always make a phone call. There may be laws against it, but we do not shut the phone down because that's an FCC issue. But we do stop texting, emailing, and web browsing. And by the way, we'll also alert the parent if there's a thing called a speed alert. So you can put on the phone that if you want to know if your child is doing 75 miles an hour, and if your child does 75, the parent will get a speed alert. We also can use what's known as a geofence. So I'm here in Southern California. I could put on one of my son's phones that he cannot leave Orange County, California. And if he does, if he goes into LA County, once again, I get a text and email that says that my son just entered into Los Angeles. So now I know where he is. We can tell the parent where that phone is 24/7. They will specifically know where the child is, which for some parents it may be a little too much, and for others it's not enough because they want to know what the kids are getting involved with. But these speed alerts, I had a parent, great story, came to the office some time ago, about over a year ago, and he said that his wife put the service on their son's phone, and he wasn't really thrilled about it. But he said this, he goes, this morning I got the speed alert that our son was doing 75 miles an hour. And our response was, well, now you know what a fast driver your son is. And he said, no, you guys don't get it. Our son's only 14. He was in a school bus. He said, I took the information off of my speed alert. I went down to the school district, and I just gave it to them over the risk of life that bus driver put not only my kid, but all those kids in harm's way. So it works. It works in a really neat way.
That's an amazing story. I mean, you ultimately think, you go to the fact that the child may be or is the driver, but to have that kind of capacity to look at what of other things that are going on when they're driving in other vehicles is just amazing. Amazing.
It is. These smartphones, and they're so good. There's so many good things about them. Nevertheless, in the hands of a child or a young adult, it's a lot of power. And what we like to say within our company is we're giving the parent an arsenal of tools that allows the parent to protect their children. Because some of these kids are getting caught up into the pressure, the peer pressure. They do certain things. You know, if a child goes into a triple X-rated bookstore, they throw that child right out. But no one throws them out of the internet. And once again, one of the services that we offer that comes with the services, we have a pornographic safe browser. So when you download this onto your son or daughter's cell phone and they want to browse the web, they cannot get to those sites that they should not be in. So it gives mom and dad, once again, peace of mind that this smartphone, and by the way, the phones that are being created today and sold are smartphones. It's the fastest growing part of the marketplace. Kids want the smartphones. It allows mom and dad to know that they have some element to protect their children.
Very nice. Very nice. You know, looking at these parameters that you're talking about, that the features that the parents can work with in regards to setting these parameters for their children, it has to, just hearing about all of these different avenues of safety that you're offering and the products that you're offering parents today, it would have to also build a trusting relationship between the parent and the child, because no longer does the parent have to, you know, spy or look at every word, everything that their child is doing, because the software initially protects them from the overall issues.
No, I agree with you. It's not a spyware. This is not spying. We really hope it opens up that communication between mom and dad and the son or daughter, that it allows them to deal with the pressures that children are facing nowadays. It allows them to talk through it, to talk about it. It allows them to help develop something which I think has been lost, and that's just plain old civility. Mm-hmm. You know, the kids don't talk that much anymore on the phone. They text. And since that's their primary form of communication, it's that really needs to be monitored or to be understood by the parents. The case in point, I was giving a presentation some time ago, and up in front of the group, I put up two words. I said, if I put up these two words, which I'll obviously say, the two words are, don't stop. If we're talking, you can hear the inflection of my voice when I say, don't stop, meaning discontinue what you're doing. Or if I say, don't stop, it could mean continue on. But when you text something, you lose all that. So the kids are becoming far more direct in the words they're using. And unfortunately, they're not very civil nowadays. I mean, you can read about this on the web every day or watch the evening news. You're going to find this stuff. And it's becoming a lost art communication. So we're right with you. This will hopefully allow mom and dad to better communicate and to help the child understand what they should be doing and what they should be saying. And maybe I'm a little altruistic, but that's just how we thought this thing could be of great value to a parent in today's age.
Absolutely, absolutely. With the social media and the different ways or means of communication, like you pointed out, this is a great tool for parents to be able to bridge that gap of communication as well as protect their children, which I think that brings great peace of mind with your product, with the web safety software. Very nice. Okay, I'd like to move on to maybe your plans or strategies for web safety. Can you tell us a little bit about the strategic direction or business objectives?
Sure. Our big goal right now is obviously to get the service distributed out to the public. We have gone through the beta testing of this. It works fine. Now we're in the process of attracting various potential licensees. We are having some great success in doing that. I anticipate over the next 30 to 60 days making some very good announcements regarding this success. But it's our intention to license the product to some groups both in the retail sector as well as the mobile telecom sector, so the product can begin to be mass marketed. Now we have a ways to go. We're a young company, but we have a product that I believe the media will immediately understand, and we believe there's enough interest out there from the retailers and other very recognizable concerns that we're going to have a good audience. I have yet to have anyone tell me that this product doesn't make any sense. Everyone continues to ask, is it developed or are you developing it? And when we tell them it's developed, we get into additional meetings. So I think the response rate's been good, but we believe that's going to be the best plan of approach for us to license it to some very good groups.
Very exciting, very exciting. So as far as this thought of the technology and the concept itself, how did you get to this point where you're at now, and where did this originate from initially?
Okay. About almost 5 years ago, a client of mine brought this to my attention about a company that had developed this software in a very basic kind of way, dealing with the computer. And we wound up getting a license from this company. This goes back to, this would be early 2008, so 4 years ago. We licensed the product, and then we decided, let's expand this and put it on the cell phone. And we began to do that. And we've been in development for a number of years, going after both of these two primary services, the no texting and driving and the cyberbullying. In the late summer of 2009, we actually bought the technology from the company that had originally developed the basic technology. So we bought it, and then we began to expand it. We hired our own developers, and they put together everything that we currently have. We have brought on board a wonderful head of our technology advisory board, a man by the name of Brian Fowler out of Florida. Brian has been involved with some very established large telecommunications and technology companies, and he has overseen the, call it the final development. Nothing is ever quite developed in the sense of software, but he now currently has the responsibility of making it better, which he has done. So we're in some very good hands. It's very stable, works very well, and that's kind of the history. But we are the owner of the technology. I believe the public will begin to see these other companies licensing it, but the name, once again, will be under the name of Web Safety or Cell Safety, which is one of our trademarks. So that's kind of the process we're going down to generate, which we believe will be substantial revenues in the very near future.
Very nice, very impressive. So with your targeted audience, let's just say for the particular software that you have developed or that it's in the final stages of development. Would you say also that there's a particular avenue of, let's say, I know you mentioned as far as corporations utilizing the software. Can you elaborate a little bit more on how corporations could use this particular software in their business and with the employees that they have?
Sure. Employees obviously have cell phones, and we believe many employers would like to know if their employees are not utilizing that cell phone correctly. Through my work as a corporate securities lawyer, on occasion I would have a client who would get involved with a sexual harassment lawsuit. And in many cases, it developed around the use of a cell phone and improper usage of both text messaging, things that were very vulgar and derogatory, or pictures or websites during the working hours. So a corporation can utilize our software the exact same way a parent would, except there's more employees. So the employer can either designate a corporate administrator who would receive the text or email alerts that somebody was doing something, which I think the employer would like to know to protect his own liability. And I think that employee would become a little more accountable to the employer and would probably do his job a little better. I mean, it's unfortunate, but once again, we read about this every week that some corporation found out that their employees have been surfing the web for porn sites or, doing things that you just can't believe during the hours that they're getting paid. They're not doing their work, but doing things they shouldn't be doing. So it's very applicable in the corporate world.
Absolutely. You make a very good point in regards to how companies can utilize this because, for instance, HR managers, human resources people, they can only do so much within the day, and your software would be able to handle, and be the eyes and ears of all email correspondence or web searching, which is incredible and really does become a great use of time management as far as, being able to expand that and be the eyes and ears of the corporation. Very nice. Very
Gives
good.
the employer an additional tool, no doubt about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very good. Great information. So talking about the where you're at right now at the company, can you describe to our audience what the current as far as the business plan goes, what phase you would currently be in with your operations?
Sure. Well, the product is fully developed. It is now in the marketing phase. So we anticipate the beginning of revenue starting in the second quarter, since we're almost done with the first quarter. But we have a few things that we've been working on that we will be announcing, and it's all marketing time now. This is the time and place where we want it to be. It's been tested, it's been developed, and it's now being put out into the hands of the public. So we're in the marketing phase, revenue stage. As a public company, we're current with all of our SEC reports, and we're genuinely excited about the response that we're getting. I've been interviewed by CBS, ABC, NBC. We made the front page of USA Today regarding the texting and driving piece. We've been in Forbes and Business Week. So a lot of people are beginning to really take notice about what we have. And it's time now to put revenue on the books.
Wow, that's great. So as far as right now with being in that marketing phase, your expectations for the short term, what would they be?
Well, that's a great question. It's a number of subscribers, obviously, and we have not published what our projections are just yet because it's difficult. I can either be too low or too high. I believe we're going to see great success. But I'm not going to put out in the public hands yet a projection, whether it be 1,000 or 100,000 or 1 million users here in 2012. I only say it because there's nothing scientific about it. It's going to come down to getting the best possible way to market this and get it in front of as many people as possible. We know there will be users. We already have users. We know there will be more users with this 2.0 release and the simplistic way we've made this available to be downloaded onto a phone. It's easy. I'm not a technological person, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. But
good. You're making it easy for people like me as well.
So I'm a little cautious on issuing a projection. Let me say this. The smartphone marketplace is growing at a 34% annual rate. We know there's over 100 million phones in this country alone. There's over 1 billion worldwide. And by the way, our technology will work in any country. It just has to be translated into Spanish or French or German or Japanese, you name it. It'll be easy to adapt to other countries because they're facing the exact same problems we are. The cyberbullying or texting and driving, they're not just our problems. They're worldwide problems. Mm-hmm. There was an incredible video that was done by a police station in Great Britain about 8 months ago that showed a situation where 4 girls were in a car texting, and the driver wasn't aware as the car went across the line and hit an oncoming car. And you can watch this in slow motion. This was all over CNBC and Fox News. And a lot of people said it was too graphic. I'm going to tell you something. Maybe it wasn't graphic enough because people really do die because of distracted driving. So we have the ability to take this technology all over the world, which we intend to do. But we're focusing, obviously, here in our own country first, just because these are the groups that we have reached out to, whether it be the PTA associations within the schools or it's other retailers, it's the other licensees, it's mobile advertising. All of those things are available to us, and we're pursuing all of those things.
Very nice. Well, you bring up quite a bit of great information in regards to the exposure and adaptability. And with all of those things, I have to ask, do you have any strategic alliances or partners right now? And maybe you may not be able to go into full detail on this, but if so, could you talk about maybe the way that they bring, what they bring to your company and how it benefits each of you at this stage?
We don't have a strategic partner or corporation just yet that I can announce. Mm-hmm. But we anticipate an announcement within the next 30 days. And the groups that will begin to showcase the product, making it available, which will start on a limited basis, will be names that are very recognizable to the public.
Wow. That's some juicy information, Roland.
Well, we're working hard. You know, once again,
right.
It's one thing if you tell people about a product and you get the response, well, that's a dumb product. Who would want that? But nobody has told us this is a dumb product. And every time, every week, you read about the cyberbullying problem, everyone gets it. And every parent is concerned. If you have a child between the age of 6 to 18, you have to be concerned. Where I live, there was a young man who took his life it was last summer, committed suicide because of cyberbullying. It happens in every community, and it's happening all too frequently. So this is a real problem. And the bigger telecoms, they're aware of this. It was interesting. I had a meeting with AT&T over a year ago. went back and met with their top people. And as we were in this meeting, the vice president, a woman, said that she became aware that her daughter was going to bed at 11 p.m., but unbeknownst to her, the AT&T executive, her daughter was texting until 3 and 4 a.m. in the morning. And our response was, well, we can stop that. She said, how can you stop that? I said, we have a curfew that you can put on the phone. So you can stop texting at 11 p.m. until 7 a.m. or whatever hours you want to put in. And she looked at the people. There were 8 other AT&T executives in the meeting, and they said, why can't we do that? She goes, that's incredible. We need that type of a product.
Very incredible indeed. I would say most parents are worried about those things with the texting and driving, all of the problems that you talk about, the cyberbullying. I mean, just to reiterate that problem, I mean, that is something that goes unnoticed because kids are ashamed or they don't want to talk about it. So all those things that you bring up, I mean, for parents to have that information in their hands where their kids don't feel comfortable about discussing those issues is amazing. It's stuff that is very, time sensitive and could sometimes mean the difference between life and death in some situations.
Absolutely. It's going to make that family a stronger family when they can talk about this. They understand what those kids are going through. And the kids will understand that mom and dad now understand it, and they can talk about it. I mean, you don't want your child to be a victim at any level.
Yeah. Agree completely. Very good stuff. Okay, so beyond the technology and the software themselves, what are some of the longer-term goals? Let's just say if you were to look at anywhere from 1 year to 5 years now, based on the software being developed, where you're at with your, taking off with marketing, your marketing plan. How do you get from there to here? Specifically commenting on some of the catalysts or milestone events that you anticipate within the next year.
Well, once again, a very good question. We believe that this situation will build and build rapidly. We think that this situation is in one regard very simple. If someone in the neighborhood, particularly usually a woman, will get it, and something will occur, she will realize that her son or daughter has been bullied. And what typically happens is moms nowadays have tremendous email lists, and they talk amongst themselves through the use of email that she, because we have seen this, will share it with a group of her friends, because these problems go right through the neighborhood. And you can even find within the news, cyberbullying problems have taken place in high schools all around this country where it became endemic. A serious problem developed, and had one parent known, the other parents would have known, and it could have been stopped. So we think we have the ability here to have this thing go viral just because of the neighborhoods, the schools, the PTAs, notwithstanding the fact that we believe there will be some very credible licensees who will make this available, and that this product is going to grow. Now, once again, we're dealing with a huge common denominator, which are cell phones, and the cell phone base is growing. So we're not talking about a group of people who have a specific problem, like a very specific type of a cancer. No, we're talking about a group where it's growing every week. More and more people are using and getting cell phones. Kids are getting them at an earlier age, which I mentioned before. It's reality. Look at AT&T has approximately 84 million subscribers. Verizon, if I remember right, has 88 million subscribers. T-Mobile has approximately 55 million, and Sprint, the fourth, I think, has 41 million. So right there, you're talking over 200 million potential users. We're talking big numbers. So the numbers are so big, they're crazy. But each phone, because let's face it, the parents, I don't anticipate people over the age of 25 putting this on unless an employer mandated that someone have it on their phone so they can't text and drive while they're driving for their employer. To be a very recognizable concern. Transportation companies usually have other more expensive type of software, but I think the target market is really, again, 6 to 18, with some over the age of 18, but it's a big growing marketplace. So, but I didn't quite answer your question because I don't know how to give you a good answer as to what our growth rate is going to be, how many potential subscribers will we have, because the number is just so big. But I know this. We have to start it now with our full marketing campaign, which we're beginning, and we'll be able to see very quickly, and we can make the changes quickly as we get feedback from other potential strategic partners.
Very nice. That's a good problem to have, exponential growth. And I'm sure that once you guys get rolling in that marketing plan, it's going to be very evident where you're going. And I think the audience knows that just from what we've talked about so far. So excellent information. Okay, shifting focus now on maybe what some shareholders or potential investors may want to know. What is your current share structure for the company?
Okay, thank you. We currently have approximately 280 million shares outstanding. If people go to the charts, they will see that our stock at one time a few years ago was over $1. Many different reasons for that, reasons that I don't fully understand. But over the past year, as we continue through the development, and we had financial issues, which many young companies have. We had them. The stock was sold off by many of our original shareholders or other market shareholders, and the stock got, it closed Friday at 2.5 cents. So that's where it is. It certainly would show that we had a lot of financial pressure, which is what we had. But my inclination is I can only strive to make it better. I can't tell you where the stock price goes, but I know this. If we bring on the right partners with subscribers, with revenue, the stock will take care of itself.
Very good. And who is your transfer agent, and are they open for investors to inquire about the share structure of your company?
Well, our transfer agent is Pacific Stock Transfer in Las Vegas, Nevada. Our group that is helping us, we have hired a fantastic company in Toronto, Canada called TMCL Marketing Group. And they are a fantastic social media company. They do online mobile advertising, web design, but they specialize in building brand awareness online for companies such as us. And if you go to their website, you can see who their clients are. So they have been very, very helpful with us in putting together a new website for us and putting together some strategic branding that, once again, people will see over the next 30 days. They will be handling our investor relations responses, and they'll probably be the best group for people to reach out to as we make our press releases to gather additional information. Apart from our normal SEC filings, we have our 10K that will be due for the calendar year 2011, due by the end of this month. We'll be filing that on time. So anyway, TMCL Marketing Group is the group that we've retained to assist us with those services.
All right, great information. And as far as your potential or actual revenue streams, I know we've talked a lot about the projections and things that are happening right now. Can you give us a little bit more insight on that piece of information?
Amy, I'm reluctant to forecast that, just because we're just starting. I'm an optimistic person, but I just want to get this done the right way. I don't want to put something out there that, even though it's my goal, my intention, and something by the way, I mean, I don't take any salary out of this company. I do this because I believe in it. I'm not going to take salary out of this thing until this company makes some money. I have loaned the company $250,000 over the past 2 years to keep it going. I believe in it. So I am reluctant to say, gee, I think we can hit X dollars. But I'm here because I believe we're going to have success. And success to me is, it's more than $100. I'm going to do all that I can to drive this company. I believe we will have great positive response from the other potential marketers out there and licensees.
Well, very good, and I'm sure shareholders can appreciate that in regards to what you've done for the company and where you're looking to go, and that's a really good thing. As far as the website, can you give us the website and or to where shareholders or potential shareholders could go for information?
I'll be happy to. It's www.websafety.com. So websafety.com.
All right, great. So what do you think makes web safety a good investment for potential investors? And more importantly, let's just say if you had a 5-minute elevator speech to give to someone who is potentially going to invest, what would represent the excitement of the future of the company, and what would that speech be to that person?
Another good question. I think it's nothing more than talking about to the listener. Are you aware of cyberbullying? Most people will say yes. Are you aware of texting and driving? Of course. What would you think if I told you I have my company, our company, has the solution to stop texting and driving and allow a parent to monitor all vulgar, derogatory type texts, both receiving and sending, that we can stop that. We can eliminate the browsing to inappropriate websites. We can create curfews on the texting. We can create a virtual fence. These services are there. How big is the marketplace? It's 100 million plus phones. How many parents are concerned about it? Focus groups tell us many parents are concerned about it. Schools now talk about it. This is in the news every day, and it's always the bad news. It's someone's son or daughter committed suicide because of the way they were bullied. So it's the problem, and it's our solution. We're first to the market. We got to remain first to the market. We now have to really begin to run and get this thing distributed. That's our challenge, to find the right partners, the right groups to work with, so everyone can put this on their sons or daughters' phones or their employees' phones, and then get it over the boundaries into other countries.
Very good. Well, it's definitely an exciting time right now for Web Safety Inc., and I could see all of the areas in which, you know, the growth can go, and everything that you offer is just, it's amazing. And for parents, especially for someone like me, I mean, there's always a time where a parent worries about a child, and I think that your software truly does bring all of these issues to the forefront and gives us a solution to, you know, be better engaged with what's going on with our children, and to make things safer, which I applaud you for. So We've covered a lot of information. Oh, you're very welcome, Roland. And we've covered a lot of information this evening. Is there anything else that you would like to address?
No, I think your questions have covered most everything. I hope I've been clear to your audience regarding what we represent. We know the needs out there. Parents can no longer say, well, that's not going to be my kid. That doesn't affect us. This is now universal. So I believe we've covered everything unless you have any final questions.
Well, I think that's pretty much. We've covered a lot of information tonight, and I know that again, your product does, offer a lot of solutions for a lot of problems that are between parents and children, as well as what companies may face in the workplace as well to protect them. So we just want to, Roland, we want to thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to speak to our audience about your products and the need for your products in regards to cell phone activity. And we just want to offer you or extend to you an open invitation to join us on the radio show in the future. We know that you have talked about several times within the 30 to 60-day time frame that there's going to be a lot of exciting information, some marketing things that you may want to come on and talk about. So we would be more than happy for you to join us at a later date and time in the future.
Well, thank you. I'll be happy to take you up on that invitation.
Great. Well, thanks so much again, Roland, and we appreciate you coming on tonight on the Sunday night. And we know that there's going to be a lot of things that we can look forward to with web safety, and we wish you just continued success in the future.
Well, thank you, Amy.
All right. Take care.
Good night.
Okay. Good night. That was Mr. Roland Day. He is the CEO, chairman, and co-founder of Web Safety, Inc., stock ticker WBSI. And back to you, STT.
Wonderful. Wonderful information. I look at it this way, and correct me if I'm wrong. If you're above, 37, 38 years old, you grew up in the 80s. And like he said, back then, you'd yell and go back and forth with one of your friends or somebody you weren't so friendly with, and it would most likely lead into, a little fight, and you finish the fight and you're done with it. Nowadays, with technology and the way things are advancing, I was thinking when you first started the interview and he was talking about and everything, my daughter is 16. She's been driving for 10 months now on her own. 6 days into her driving experience, she smacks up the brand new car I just bought for her. That's 6 days later, after getting her license and going out on her own, she smashes up the front end of the car. And, to me, she's a smart girl. She's a straight-A student, does everything that, needs to be done and everything. But it's those, it's the lack of attention, I guess, when they're driving. And just to add in nowadays with the cell phones, the text messaging, and all that good stuff, it just makes it that much more dangerous out there. And they're not only endangering their lives, but the other people that are on the road with them. So, I like the technology. I'm actually going to talk to the wife and maybe give Roland a call and see if I can get a favor and get a couple apps for my kids. Perfect example, she just got back yesterday. She took her girlfriends down to Busch Gardens, which is about an hour and a half away from me. It's on a parkway where you can do 70, which is the legal speed limit. But, I'd like to know if she's doing 70 or if she's doing 80. I know Daddy does like 90, So,
right.
So I would like to know. And the best part about it is that if she's in a car, let's say I know that she went out and, she wasn't driving, somebody else is driving. Now I can see if that person she's driving with is doing, 60, 70, 80, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's one of the things that really, kind of piqued my interest during the interview was the fact that he was talking about the story when Roland was talking about the kid on the bus and the actual bus driver drive. I mean, that to me is even, you always want to trust your kid when you're giving them the keys to the car and all of that, and you hope that they do everything responsibly, and you can track that with this software. But you know what's even interesting to me is that you can track other people's behavior, which, you know, anything that has to do with your kid's safety, you're there. You get the information, boom, you know, which is great peace of mind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and like you said, you know, and I like the fact that he didn't give you huge projections and things of that nature, okay? Right. Because that means more to me than if he came out and said, well, I expect to do, you know, 100 million in sales in the next 6 months. Usually the people that are a little hesitant are the ones that are more successful.
Yeah, you know what yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the thing that I have to say, which I'm very interested in right now with Web Safety, is the fact that they have this software developed. They've beta tested it. They have it ready to go. They're starting to look at the marketing phase of their business, which is the most exciting part of their business. So who knows where this can go? I mean, you heard him say between 30 and 60 days, they should have some pretty serious, you know, really good announcements with surrounding their business. And I can't wait. Hopefully we can get rolling back on the show very soon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, you know, like I said, when we were growing up, things were different. We were outside playing with our friends. Parents can kind of hear the arguments and what was going on. And nowadays, you know, kids with the Xbox and the PlayStations, they're more homebound.
Absolutely.
So that's how they communicate, and it's just a totally different world we're growing up in. And
absolutely, the technology takes over, and that's where it gives parents a little bit more apprehension in regards to the safety of their children, because there's so many other avenues now with the technology that they feel that they don't have a handle on, which everything that Roland talked about tonight in that software can give parents, families peace of mind, and also open lines of communication, which I think is amazing in regards to what we're dealing with in this day and age.
Right, and also the tracking, like you said, you know, if you left the county line, that he would get a text message saying that your son just left, you know, whatever county you live in, and you had restricted them to staying within that zone, you know. Amazing stuff, you know. Great
stuff.
I look forward to seeing what's coming up next, and he said there'll be a lot of announcements, so.
Oh, yeah. It looks like it's getting ready to get exciting here, so we're very excited for him. I know that.
I did look at the website while we were on the call, and very nice website, set up very clean, easy to navigate. Gotta love that.
Love it.
So good luck with that, Roland. I hope to have him back on the radio within a month. Sounds like he has a lot coming up.
Oh, yes. They've been quite busy.
Oh, and I want Mr. Day, if he's still listening, he said that he's been interviewed by CBS, ABC, NBC. Now you can add STT to that list.
Woo!
Oh, man.
No, yes, they have a quite impressive track record in regards to the media coverage. I mean, it has been very, very nice, and we're just very happy that he was able to join us this evening and talk to our audience. It was a joy and a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. And another nice thing, they're in the marketing phase.
Absolutely. That's where it's at.
Gotta love it. Gotta love being a company that's in the marketing phase.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like he has everything in line. I'm going to speculate. This is pure speculation, but he mentioned AT&T an awful lot.
I noticed that.
An awful lot. I don't know if it's a slip of the tongue or what, but it was an awful lot.
Yeah. So we'll definitely keep an eye out in the near future.
Keep an eye out and see what's going on.
All
well,
right.
Mr. Day took up a good portion of our show, which we absolutely don't mind. We love that. The longer the interview, the more information he has to get out. That's fantastic. We wish everybody in our audience the best of luck in all your trades, and may your portfolio always be green. You're listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio, and don't forget, you can now listen to Stock Traders Talk Radio on iHub under the tab Hot and then Auditorium. It will take you right to our show. Thank you, iHub. This is Stock Traders Talk Radio. We'll be back on tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., with the morning show with Stock Sumo, Sifakia, and Haas. Back on tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with myself, QT Cal, and Mr. Cop. Have a good night and good luck.
You rock, Cutie Cal. Aloha.
Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio. All views and topics talked about on Stock Traders Talk Radio is solely for entertainment purposes. We are not professional financial advisors and always recommend you seek the advice of a professional financial advisor. Never invest in any stock featured on our show unless you can afford to lose your entire investment. The information contained on our show is based on sources which we believe to be reliable, but is not guaranteed by us as being accurate, and might not be a complete statement or summary of the available data. Stock Traders Talk Radio advises that the investments in companies profiled